Let's get this monkey started. Welcome back, everybody, to another Honest Opinion, and today we're going to be talking about the sequel to The Incredibles. The Incredibles 2. So for those that did not see the first one, I have a bit of a story for you. The Incredibles hero family takes on a new mission, which involves a change in family roles. Bob Parr, Mr. Incredible, Craig T. Nelson, must manage the house while his wife Helen, Elastigirl, Holly Hunter, goes out to save the world. Is that it? Synopsis-wise, that's a little weak. First one was a little bit better. It gave you a little bit more to think about. That was a very generic synopsis, so it's okay. The movie starts off right after the end of Incredibles 1. First thing you could tell is the animation is so much more different. It's more fluid. I made that comment in the commentary. It's a lot more fluid, and you get to see things a lot more. Like, they're really happening. Like, your lips. That's exaggerated, but you get what I mean. So the movie, they show you what happens when they fight the Underminer. They fight him. In the process of them fighting, the one dude, Winston Dever, was there, and he saw everything go down. He's like, oh shit, the supers are back, yo. Like, if he had a camera, he'd be like, yo, bro, roll it. Like, that's kind of his whole vibe. But they stop the Underminer. The guy meets up with Frozone. Tells Frozen about, like, hey man, you don't have to keep running. I got a proposition for you. The Pars get relocated again, and then Frozen comes up. He's like, yo bro, this is Dude in Town. He's saying he can get us back in favor with the public. You in? They go in. Turns out they don't want Bob. They don't want Mr. Incredible. They want Elastigirl. Story-wise, throughout the story, it does make sense, because for some people they might say, okay, well, they're starting to push the whole feminine thing a little too heavy-handedly. Like, hey, Mr. Incredible, you're great, but we're gonna go with the chick. Sorry. No, it makes sense, because in a way, Mr. Incredible was the reason for them to go away. So to kind of start with him, you have all that, like, you have that bad vibes with Mr. Incredible. And with Elastigirl, you know, it's Elastigirl. So in that sense, it makes sense. What about Frozone? Why can't you do Frozone? Well, technically, Frozone went first. And also, Frozone's not one of the main characters. Helen goes out, and she's the first person to be like, all right, we're going to test this with you. They give her all these new gadgets and all this new stuff. And she's basically what Bob wanted to be in the first movie. She goes out and she's the one kicking ass, and he's home being a dad, a stay-at-home dad, pretty much. People are winding up being hypnotized by the screenslaver. It could be anybody, and Helen's great-ass detective skills. She's low-key picking up the subtleties here and there. She's a hunter, bro. Helen is a hunter. Bob, you lucky motherfucker, bro. She's a hunter. She starts picking it off one by one, where she gets the clues. She starts to come down to it, and then at the very end, she catches it. But then turns out it's Winston's sister. Even though I noticed the subtleties. The first subtlety I noticed was when she was sitting in the dark, and Winston was in the light. Because I kept remembering the word. What he said was about perception. So I was like, okay, when somebody tells you that, I look at you. You're in my crosshairs talking about perception. Turns out it's his sister. His sister's problem is kind of like Lex Luthor, where everybody's dependent on supers. And so she's like showing them, like, don't trust supers, you know? Trust yourself. Don't trust these people. Don't give all these people this power to basically control your lives or keep you safe. Like the debate about people trade their freedoms for security or something like that. I might be missing some things here and there. It's been a while since I've seen the movie. I should have seen it again. But then, you know, towards the end of the movie, obviously they stop her and they're like, look, she was the bad guy all along. Superheroes are good. Let's bring them back. That's pretty much the story. But you can't have a story without characters. So let's talk about the big boy again first.
But this sounds great. Let's get this going. What's my first assignment?
So like in the first movie, Bob started out as the main character because this was him trying to get back to where he wanted to be, those glory days, that feeling of satisfaction. He wanted to get back to it. So now this movie starts and his character, he got to be that. He got to save people, and he's still doing it in the beginning. Since this is like so closely tied with the first movie, he's still in that sense, but then he has to get knocked down a peg and be like, look bro, you got to live those moments, but for right now, you're gonna have to take back seat. Okay, I'm gonna try to break it down as clearly and as quickly as possible. Bob was bored and dissatisfied with anything that wasn't him being a superhero. That could be sometimes being a dad or working at some random ass business. Those did not satisfy him as much as being a superhero did. Now, after being able to do all the superhero stuff that he did, that adventure that he was missing, the Caldwell adventure, after that was ended with Syndrome and then picked up with the Underminer, he's basically like doing it. But now he's being told that you need to take a step back and you need to also just like let Elastigirl be the one that's going out you kind of have to bite the bullet again. And so now he's back in that dissatisfied moment. He's even jealous of his own wife sometimes, where he's like gritting his teeth and ready to just punch a hole in the wall because she's outliving what he wants to do. I don't like to be that jealous of your own partner. Like, bruh, chill. Be happy for them, my nigga. Damn. He does learn from it. He learns that sometimes you're gonna have to bite the bullet, and you're not just a superhero, but you're also a dad. He was terrible as a dad in the beginning. Didn't know how to help Dash with his homework. He sure as hell didn't know how to help Violet with boy troubles. And Jack Jack's a baby with like 15 different fucking powers, and nobody can handle that shit. But then after time passes, he's like, look, my wife's out doing the best she can, and she's loving it. She calls me so excited. I have to this is life. I have to handle it, make the most out of it. And he does. He becomes a fucking dad. Bruh. Respect to all the stay-at-home dads real quick. Just because your wife's out there kicking ass, you're still kicking ass too at home, bro. Bob learned how to be not only a superhero, but also a dad like he's supposed to be. Now he's like, bro, I'm just a person, and I'm your father. Let me help you.
I saved a runaway train!
Wow! Let's talk about the big girl herself. Hey, let's talk about Helen. Hey. So Elastigirl, not Miss Incredible, Elastigirl. You could definitely tell the different tones of the different movies. The Incredibles is a very 2004, early 2000s types of movie. It played it safe in a certain degree. And now the 2018, there's been more of a push for female main roles where it's like Wonder Woman or Captain Marvel, Birds of Prey coming out soon, stuff like that. So you could tell like there's obviously a different tone of movies. Pretty much this whole like section of time, I think it all probably started late 2016 to like now. That big chunk of time is definitely influencing this movie. But I'm not complaining. Helen's such a fucking badass, okay? They took Helen from the first movie. They gave her a little bit of a dial, you know, like, you're at an 8, let's bring you to a fucking 10. Because we're not going to 11 yet, we're going to bring you to a 10. Okay, we're going to turn up the hypeness. And does it disappoint? Fuck no! It doesn't disappoint because it kind of puts her in Bob's shoes. It flips the script, obviously. Bob didn't really have a lot of the logic that Helen does. Obviously, his emotions were in control. That's why he was so jealous and angry that he didn't get to go, like, ahead of him. He didn't get to go instead of her. But then Helen's in the limelight right now, and she's kicking ass with it because she has her logic and her emotion with it. She's able to help differentiate. So that's how technically she's a better superhero than Bob, because she's able to think things out a lot more than Bob probably would have in the moment, you know? Bruh, I don't know what else to say, yo. Helen takes the cake for the fucking movie, dog. Helen, yo, you a great ass character, dog.
Did you wash your hands? With soap? Did you dry them?
So now for Dash is pretty much the same.
Good evening, everyone.
Violet does get a lot of work in this movie, though. Because if anything, I think the major subplot for the movie is Violet. The whole date with Tony goes awry. She's pissed at her dad because his actions or his friends or whatever caused a boy she liked to completely ghost her. Okay? This motherfucker made Tony a goddamn fuckboy. That shit was funny. But she's pissed off about that, obviously, like anybody would. But pretty much her character is still the same. The story doesn't really change her too much, I think. It's just she wanted to talk to Tony, hang out with Tony. Her dad's friend got in the way. Her dad fixes it.
Come on, Jack, we have to go. Cookie number.
I'm including Jack Jack into this because Jack Jack finally gets a bigger role, because unless you didn't see the Jack Jack attack from the first movie, this kid has a lot of different powers, and they even give you more. I didn't know he could duplicate. I know he could burst into flames. He could turn into a monster. He could turn into like a lead baby. He can go through like portal. He can like go through dimensions, I guess. I guess that's how you explain it. But now he could turn into a giant baby. He can turn into like goo. That's all I can remember. But all I'm thinking of Jack Jack, what is this kid gonna be like when he's older, bro? Because you have too many powers almost. When you hit puberty, my nigga, you're gonna destroy half of fucking America. Okay, so now we gotta talk about the screenslaver. So, in a way, it's almost a little hard to... It's a little too predictable, like, oh, what's one thing people are about this generation? They're about their phones, their screens, all their Black Mirrors. That's the whole generation nowadays. So let's make a villain that kind of reflects that. I get it. And the whole hypnotizing thing, okay, yeah, that's not a bad idea. I guess in a way, Screenslaver is kind of telling you to question. At the very end of the movie, she's telling her, like, people would trade this for that every single time. And you're using screens to kind of, you know, fuck with people. To me, it's like telling me, like, all right, well, it kind of reminds me of They Live type of thing, where it's like, it says, like, it just says obey. That's the kind of vibe I'm getting. Then, okay, I see you. I see you listening. I see you with that stuff. Unfortunately, though, besides that, that's all I got. So then the animation did step up a lot more. Watch the last section of the movie for the first movie, and then watch the beginning section of the second movie, and the animation is completely different. Everything, you definitely tell the Incredibles everybody got a damn budget increase, bro. And I kind of like it. The only thing I don't like is just how much it messes with my nostalgia, because not everybody looks exactly as they did in the first movie. Like, Dash looks completely different. Well, not completely different, but Dash looks different. Violet looks pretty much the same. You know, Helen does. Everybody does, but everybody just has that hint of looking different. And that little hint just makes you be like a little twitch. But you're okay with it. I just want to lay down the law for one quick second. I want a real heart-to-heart here. I gotta say, yo, if there's one character I missed out on mentioning, it's gotta be that goddamn Frogman, yo. That little Mr. Frogman, man. Mr. Frogman. Woo! Look at the little Frogman. Look at the little Frogman. Come on, you can't tell me that is adorable. He's adorable. Forever in my heart, Mr. Frogman. Mr. Little Frogman. But now we get into the time for what? Drum roll. That's right. Time for the rating. And the rating for this movie, for me, will have to be a 7.
That enthusiasm is golden. Now hold on to it.
I know, right? Whoa. Chris, that's a little too low for me, dude, okay? You got the first one an 8, and this one a 7? What's the dealio, bro? I enjoyed this movie a lot more than I thought I would. I thought it would be a little too pro-feminist type of thing where it's gonna be shoved down my fucking throat just because it's 2018, but no, they actually played with everything nice. The plot made sense. The reasoning for their choices made sense, and I actually enjoyed Helen kicking motherfucking ass. Sometimes you can't beat a classic. Otherwise, like, I'd give it a half point, like, yo, it's as long as it's close to 8, you know. But I'd have to give you a solid reason for that 7, for that 0.5. But a 7 isn't bad. A 7's still a good movie. That will be the end of it, though. Okay. Please leave a like, comment, subscribe, share, ring the bell for more entertainment, and I'll be seeing you for the next one. Peace out.